I want to thank Dr. Karel Boshoff for being here as the chairperson of the Federation of Afrikaans Cultural Associations. I especially want to thank him for the wonderful message that he put before all of us here. I also extend my greetings to abefundisi abakhona lapha ney'nkokheli of community organizations namalungu ney'nkokheli of various political parties. Mbingelele bonke abantu abalapha. Ngithi sanibonani, dumelang, absheni, demasiari. It is indeed an honor Hayi kwaba mnandi lapha kule reconciliation day namhlanje. Ngibingelele namabutho onke alapha kusele nje uMinister Mackenzie wayelokethi kudlula amabutho kuphela intombi asikaziboni. Sisonke besingathanda sijabulele intombi zidlule lapha. Ngiyazi ukuthi nani enhlezi lapho beningathanda ukubona intombi. Amabutho siwabonile. Mazize intombi sizibone. Ngiyathemba ukuthi ninonke enhlezi lapho nigcwele injabulo ngempela ngoba nibone neintombi. Now this is turning out to be one of the best reconciliation days that we have seen in a long time. This is possibly the very best here in KZN to see such a wonderful display of culture, but also a wonderful display of reconciliation, which I will talk about in a minute. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be here at Ngome on this day that has such profound meaning for our nation. It was here more than 180 years ago, on the 16th of December 1838, that more than 3,000 brave warriors fell in a battle in defense of their ancestral land. Under the leadership of uDingani kaSenzangakhona, they marched on the four-tracker encampment at the edge of the Ngome River. The four-trackers would say their victory that day came from God. They would call it Geloofde Dag, the day of the vow. But there is the reality of history. The Zulu Impi advanced with great courage to be shot down with rifles, muskets, and cannons. They were the bravest of the brave. They fought to defend their land, their rights, as well as their sovereignty. They fought against an army that had come to invade their land, to take their land away. So they were fighting to defend their nation. Commemorating the 16th of December provides us with an opportunity to confront our past with honesty, to acknowledge the complexity of our shared history, and commit ourselves to building a peaceful future together. And it is quite significant that today we have representatives of the Afrikaner National Group. National Group, I say, rather than nation. Our nation is South Africa. We are the South African nation, made up of a number of groups, language groups, national groups, and together we make up the South African nation. That's who we are. We do not have any other nation other than the one nation that we call the South African nation. It is quite significant today that the Afrikaner National Group, having celebrated their 16th of December on the other side of the river, were able to send representatives to this National Day of Reconciliation, which is meant to unite all of us. I would like to applaud Minister Mackenzie for having reached out to them together with our Premier Ntuli to have asked them to send representatives led by Professor Karel Boshoff to come and speak here. And also to say that in the following years, we want to see the 16th of December, particularly here in KZN, being a day in which we hold a joint commemoration of the 16th of December, which we call Reconciliation Day. Combining the two would give more meaning to reconciliation. And I'd like to thank them for that. And I do hope that Professor Karel Boshoff and his committee will consider this positively and join all of us, not in a separate commemoration event, but in a united national event, which we call the National Day of Reconciliation. Our democracy was built on reconciliation. South Africans bear the scars of centuries of dispossession and oppression, of resistance being met with batons and bullets. We recall the Battle of Ngome, the Bambata Rebellion, the Bullhoek Massacre, the 1946 mine workers' strike, Sharpeville, Langa, Cato Manor, the Trojan Horse Massacre, Sebokeng, Boipatong. The names of these events and places ring in our collective memory. They symbolize terrible brutality unleashed on black South Africans. The former oppressors tried to turn South Africans against each other, fomenting violence, terror, and instability that tore communities apart. This province, KwaZulu-Natal, knows this pain all too well, as our Premier said earlier in his speech. The people of this province experienced decades of political violence in the 1980s and the 1990s, violence that destroyed families and led to the loss of life for many people. The majority of South Africans were victims of a political order that denied them their humanity. And yet, at the dawn of democracy, they did not choose vengeance or retribution. Where others wanted to break, the majority of the people of South Africa chose to build. Where others wanted to sow division, they chose reconciliation. We chose this path together, not because the past does not matter, but because we took to heart the words of President Nelson Mandela when he said, "To be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." We chose the path of reconciliation because we envisioned a society where the children of the former oppressor and the oppressed could live together side by side without fear. In 1994, we restored what apartheid tried to break: the dignity of every South African man, woman, and child. Since the advent of democracy, we have sought to do away with symbols that divide us. This year, we return to this place not to reopen old wounds, but to reaffirm our promise to future generations that South Africa shall never again be divided by hatred, by injustice, by discrimination, and by exclusion. We reconciled in 1994. We are still reconciling today, even in 2025. We shall continue to reconcile our differences because we are one nation. We are all South African citizens. Together, we have overcome great challenges, but still a lot remains to be done. Here in the Umzinyathi district, there are areas of underdevelopment. We must tackle stubbornly high youth unemployment in a different way. Siyazi ukuthi abasha abaningi abasebenzi. Siyazi ukuthi lapha kule ndawo abantu abaningi basahlupheka. Siyazi ukuthi abantu abaningi abahlala lapha bathwele ubunzima ngendlela abaphila ngayo. Unkosi uMlifi uye wachaza kahle ukuthi lapha abantu basahlupheka, babuka ngale babone ngathi abanye abantu baphila ngconywana, nabo bafuna ukuphila ngcono bafane nabanye abantu. Young people should not have to cast their eyes to big cities for better opportunities. Jobs must be created in our rural towns and villages, right here where we are holding this ceremony this year. This area is rich in heritage. It is known as the custodian of the battlefields of the Zulu Kingdom. This is a place that should attract travelers from near and far. And in some ways, I think this is the reason why Minister Delil is also here amongst us, because here she sees a great opportunity for the people of this area for tourism, to attract many people to come here, to come and learn about the history of our country. It is the youth of this area who should be welcoming, accommodating, and feeding the visitors who come here. Stories of brave warriors must be told. The cultural dances that we watched here by Amabuto and the young maidens, these are cultural dances and activities that should be showcased to many people who can come here. There are those inside and outside our country who are trying their utmost to paint a false picture of us as the people of South Africa. They do not tell us what the surveys say, that the majority of South Africans are feeling hopeful about the state of our democracy. They do not tell us that the majority of South Africans believe that race relations in our country have improved since 1994. They do not show the pictures of African, white, Indian, and colored children learning together, studying together, and playing together. What we saw right here on stage with the young people as they were reading the preamble to our Constitution is the South Africa that we are building. It is the future that we are making for these young children. These young children have no hatred in their hearts. They want to work together. They are already learning together in the various schools that the government, where the government has created opportunities for them not only to play together, but to learn together. This is what is not being told about our country. Some say there is a genocide that is underway in our country, and they should have come here to see Professor Karel Boshoff bravely standing here saying that he recognizes the various people who are here. Professor Karel Boshoff's presence here talks to the absence of genocide. If there was genocide, he would not have come here. They want those people who are spreading lies about our country, do not want to talk about the friendships, the neighborliness, and the kindness that is shown by black and white people in our country towards each other. They don't want to play all the social media clips we are seeing of young Afrikaners in veldskoens dancing to amapiano, and white teenagers speaking fluent isiZulu with their friends. They do not want to relate how all of us as South Africans support our sporting men and women across the various sporting codes. Many black South Africans have now embraced a sport called rugby, which in the past would have been seen negatively by many. Today they are the ardent supporters of the Springboks, and many South African, white South Africans support Abafana Bafana, and that shows that indeed we are embracing the whole process of reconciliation. Our country's dictators are not talking about the successful land restitution of communities sharing the land and the successful black farmers. They are also not talking about how white farmers continue to support and assist black farmers, and how the number of black farmers who are commercial farmers is increasing on an ongoing basis. Instead, they are painting a false picture designed to sow fear and hatred. We must not let them succeed in their efforts. They must fail as they try to divide us as South Africans. If we continue and together build our nation as South Africans, there will be no one who will be able to plant the seed of discrimination and exclusiveness amongst us. We are a country of many diverse views. People understand our history in different ways, and they experience the reality of the present moment in different ways. We must not try to hide these differences. We must speak about them and continue to work together to bridge the differences amongst us. As a country, we must more be proud of the diversity that we have. We are one of the most diverse nations in the world, and yet we are becoming more and more united. As I listened to us rendering the national anthem, and I recall telling President Xi Jinping of China that our national anthem is sung in a variety of our languages, and it is the only national anthem I know that is sung in 4 languages. And that shows our unity. That shows our unity in diversity. And this is what we need to be proud of. And today we even need to be more proud that we have amongst us the national group of Afrikaners, which was celebrating across the river and have come to join us in this National Day of Reconciliation. That is the beginning process of deepening our own reconciliation as a nation. As a country, we have embarked on a national dialogue to bring all South Africans together to forge a vision of our future and to agree on the actions that all of us must take to build that future. No person, no group, and no community must be excluded from that national dialogue. Let us use the national dialogue to resolve our differences, to talk about our differences, and to find common ground. By so doing, we will be able to confront the many challenges facing our nation, such as poverty, inequality, crime, corruption, unemployment, gender-based violence, and femicide. For as long as the majority of Black South Africans live in poverty, for as long as inequality persists, our country will not find reconciliation. For as long as crime continues in our country, when many of our people are killed in the streets of our country, in the pathways of our villages, on the farms of our country, and in the urban areas of our country, we will not find reconciliation. We must therefore work together, talk amongst ourselves about how we can foster a future together. Our pursuit of inclusive economic growth and job creation, our efforts to reduce poverty and to bring down the cost of living are essential for reconciliation. We cannot be reconciled as a people if our communities are terrorized by criminals and deprived of what is due to them by corrupt officials and corrupt people. We cannot build a nation that is at peace with itself for as long as violence against women and children continues. This goes against everything that our ancestors, the brave warriors here at Ngome and elsewhere, gave their lives for. It is time that the men of our country harness the warrior spirit of our people to protect women and children and to say, "Not in my name." In many of our cultures and traditions, an offense against a woman was not permissible. It was deemed as disrespect for the entire family. Killing a woman was an abomination. What we now need to focus on is to be able to follow in the footsteps of our forefathers and foremothers. The Day of Reconciliation is about advancing reconciliation, justice, and nation building as Black and white, as young and old, but also as men and women in our country. Real men do not abuse women and children. Real men protect women and children. We are a country of diverse cultures, languages, beliefs, and traditions. Here in this place, we have a beautiful and diverse community that is an integral part of our rainbow nation. Here in this area, a person can be proud of their Basotho heritage or their Zulu culture or indeed their Afrikaans language as they are of their South African identity. For we all share a single identity as South Africans. The apartheid regime tried to turn South Africans against one another, but they did not succeed. The son of this very soil, who has made a name for himself in the whole country through Maskandi music, proudly wears the Basotho blanket and a hat on some of his CD covers because he grew up in a part of the country where there was no discrimination against other people. Today is a day of commemoration for all of us, black and white. Our upbringing and culture may influence how we interpret the history of this day, but of one thing we can be certain: we have come a long way. We've come a long way to have a partially combined celebration of National Day of Reconciliation. In the future, we hope to have a fully combined celebration. We have many challenges as a nation, but let us be proud of what we have as a united nation that faces those challenges together. During the December holidays, we gather together as families. May we also find time to reconcile as families, but also to reconcile as people who live in various of our communities. Let us enjoy the festive season safely, but as a reconciled people. Let us promote more and more of the need to reconcile than to be divided. Many opportunities are opening for us to fully act out our reconciliation. The national dialogue is one of those that we should utilize to demonstrate that indeed we can reconcile, but also reconcile our thoughts, our views, our hopes, our dreams, and reconcile all that into crafting a common vision for our country. And that we should emerge out of the national dialogue a social compact, that will unite all of us as communities, as various language groups, as the South African nation, working together to advance the interests of this beautiful nation. And as I look at our nation, I often say that we have the most beautiful country in the world, and we are the most beautiful nation in the world. Let us applaud that. Masithokozeni sonke ngokuba isizwe salapha eNingizimu Afrika singabantu sisonke sihlangene singabantu banye sisebenzela ukuthi South Africa le yethu ithuthuke iye phambili, sibambane ngezandla ukwenzela ukuthi ukusasa kwaleli lizwe lakithi ube ukusasa oluhle kakhulu. Sithi ke, let us work together for a better South Africa which belongs to all of us who live in it, black and white, men and women, young and old, without being divided into various national groups. We should promote more our nationhood as South Africans. We should rejoice in our different cultural practices, in our languages. Ons moet almal trots wees op onze languages, all our op onze tale, be it Afrikaans, be it Zulu, be it Sesotho, be it Sepedi, be it Sevenda, be it Setsonga, all of us united. And of course, as we deepen reconciliation, to also learn each other's languages. Like Madiba said, it is when you learn someone else's language that they open up their hearts to you. And this is what this day is all about, to celebrate our cultures, to celebrate our identity, to be pleased that we are the South Africans that we are, but also to look back into history and say our history has shaped us into what we are today. It has made us resilient. It has made us a people who have a deep quest for unity. It has made us a people who want to work together, people who want to dialogue together, who want to see our country succeeding. So let us all take a vow and say we shall work for the reconciliation of all the people of our country, like we were taught by the father of our nation, Nelson Mandela, who, on being released from prison, preached the message of reconciliation. And today, we must continue to spread that message and deepen it and make sure that the young people of our country lead us also on the path of reconciliation, of being able to work together, to play together, to pray together, to do everything together as South Africans. Ngiyabonga ukuba naleli thuba lokuba nani lapha kule ndawo. Thank you very much.
This is the journey to One Africa.